Okay, we made it. Oh, sorry about that. I know we're about, let's see, 11 minutes late. Whoops. Okay, so Tide Pods. Is eating Tide Pods really different than granting blanket amnesty to 2 million hostile foreign invaders? That's what we're going to discuss tonight. So, how's it going down? Let's see. We've got, y'all remember that government shutdown last week?
I do.
Y'all remember when the Democrats couldn't get what they wanted, so they took the weekend off? Chuck Schumer was all like, wait a minute, I don't get everything I want just because I demanded it, like when Obama was in office? Fuck this, I'm going to the beach. He straight threw it on his board shorts and bolted. And then, here comes Monday morning. Oh, wait. We need people to go to work and stuff. But we still demand amnesty. So how's that working out for you, Chucky?
If a deal is not reached,
I tell them not to be concerned, okay?
They have nothing to be concerned.
Tell them not to worry about it. We're going to solve the problem.
Clarify one thing, Mr.
Now, it's up to the Democrats, but they should not be concerned.
He keeps kicking me in the dick. Why? Why does he keep kicking me in the dick?
If Chuck won't let us dream, we won't let him sleep. If Chuck won't let us dream, we won't let him sleep.
Wow. I can't believe every single one of them kicked you in the dick.
I can't believe every single one of them kicked you in the dick.
Well, because that's really what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Chuck Schumer lost so badly. I mean, so not only did he lose with people like us that understood what he was doing was nothing but a show, but he actually lost with his own base for shutting down the government over nothing. Like, those were Democrats you saw protesting outside his house, or kicking him in the dick outside his house.
And most of them were the same hostile foreign invaders that we've been talking about anyway.
So, while, and look, this has not been widely reported, but originally...
we've got a comment. No, babe, they're not children. There are no DACA kids. All of the DACA people are in their 20s and mostly in their mid to late 30s. They keep calling them DACA children. It's a rhetorical, sophistic device to try and convince people that, oh,
you gotta feel bad for the DACA kids.
Feels. Oh, my feels.
It's right in the feels.
Oh, my.
Yeah, these kids that are old enough to open businesses and have kids of their own and all of that stuff. But while the short-term reopening of the government, it's only reopened until February 8th, and then we've either got to pass a budget or do another CR, and while that's not good, basically, the Democrats caved on absolutely everything. When February 8th rolls around and we get hit with this again, the debate on the CR and the debate on DACA will be two different debates on the Senate floor. So in other words, they literally cannot even shut the government down again over the same thing. They tried their proven tactic, and it is not so proven anymore.
Oh, and Andrew, they're not kids at heart, because among the many things that the parents of these DACA kids stole when they first decided to commit the unenviable crime of hostile foreign invasion. So let's not forget, these people are war criminals. They are foreign invaders, and among the many things that they have stolen, like our tax dollars through welfare programs, free education programs, etc., are the childhoods from those children. So they're not even kids at heart. Nope. So here's the thing: if we're gonna go ahead and let them stay, basically it's like this. I say blanket amnesty for all the DACA kids. Let them all stay, all 2 million of them. And we treat it like probation. We take every one of them and we treat them as if they are on probation for the crime that they have committed. The crime that they have committed is the crime of hostile foreign invasion, which committed on a mass scale like this. Imagine, what would China do if 2 million undocumented Americans walked across the border?
Mau, mau, mau.
Yeah, they pull out their Mau Mau guns, and we would be in a freaking war. That's how that shit rolls. So we treat them like they're on probation. And I don't care, whatever the infraction. You dropped a candy bar wrapper on the sidewalk. You're done. You're out of here. You're gone. And that's the end of it. You treat them like they're on probation, and in exchange for these considerations, we take the wall. We end chain migration, and here's one that's important. And this, I'm going to take you back in the time warp just a little bit. The moment I first knew that Donald Trump was my candidate was when, shortly after he announced, he started talking about is it the 13th or the 14th Amendment? Anchor babies. I get the 13th and the 14th backwards sometimes because they're similar, but it's the 13th. Establishes how one becomes a citizen, and the language of it is: whoever is born on U.S. soil and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That clause is deeply, deeply important. The reason the clause and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is there because we suddenly had all these freed slaves, and they had to have a legal status. Thanks, Legion. It's 14th. I know that. I get the two of them backwards sometimes. But anyway, the reason that was done is because we had all these freed slaves who needed to have a legal status, but they had been here long enough that there was no connection back to their country of origin. That's why in America blacks call themselves African American instead of, for example, Nigerian American or Somali American or Cape Towny American or what have you. Because by and large, there's no way to track them back to their original country or let alone tribes. But at the same time that we suddenly had all these freed black slaves who needed a legal status so that they could live their lives and enjoy being free men, as was intended by the construct of the Constitution, I would argue, we also had a bunch of Chinese immigrants and Irish and even German. We had immigrants from all over the world who were basically prospecting and building railroads. And we had this problem. Without the language and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, to keep children born to people who were here with the expectation of being temporarily present but not chasing citizenship, we ran the risk in a very real way of declaring them citizens and therewith inviting war with their host nations. That was a very real problem. Fast forward to today, if you invade America, you ravening hostile monsters, and you decide to drop your litter here, you are still a criminal who is subject to the jurisdiction of a foreign nation. Ergo, that child is not a U.S. citizen. But I'm not a totally cold-hearted monster. Put them on probation for 10 or 12 years. If they don't break any laws and they adhere to the rest of the requirements, which, let's be frank, the likelihood of the bulk of them achieving that is slim, then Domini Patria Fili, Spiritu Citizen.
So, let's back up and set the table here just a little bit. On Monday, Donald Trump offered a grand compromise. And the compromise on DACA... That's right, Lindsay, and they get castrated. Sure, we'll just throw that in for funsies.
Jesus, babe. I'm going to leave this here, okay? Okay.
No, I'm going to leave it right here because I'm going to bleed to death. Anyhow, on Monday, Donald Trump at... Wow. Illegal prom night, dumpster babies. That, so far, Andrew is winning the comment thread. That is the best comment thus far. Anyhow, on Monday, Donald Trump offered a grand compromise on DACA. We would need $25 billion to go into trust for the wall and border security, and another $5 billion to go into other things, also in the trust. The second tenet was we were going to severely limit chain migration. It was only going to be to immediate family members only. No more bringing over your auntie foo-foo from whatever country. The third thing was going to be an end
and
to the...
passing your freaking foreigners' business mortgage off to them.
Yeah, the third pillar of his compromise was we would just end the visa lottery program. If you want to come to America, you want to come to America. It's not like that Publishers Clearinghouse where they show up at your house with a check and you didn't actually buy a lottery ticket. And then the fourth, wow. The comment section, people. If you watch this show for nothing else, the comment section, and we love it.
My lovely wife may be the worst troll I've ever encountered. Keep it up, babe. Keep it up, and I might just put you on the show.
Mega baby on prom night. The fourth pillar was not permanent residency, but amnestizing somewhere in the ballpark of 1.8 million. There are reports that when you really factor it all in, it's more like 3 million. But we'll go with the official number of approximately 1.8 million potential DACA recipients get amnesty. And that's after a 10 to 12 year track. And they still have to come out of the shadows, as it were. And this 1.8 million is a big deal because only about 800,000 people registered under Obama's illegal executive DACA program. So not only would we give those 800,000 that quote-unquote tried to do it the right way eventual amnesty, we go ahead and give it to everybody that was brought here as a baby. So this is the grand compromise. Fine. Even though conservatives don't want to amnestize these people, we'll go ahead and do that. And even though liberals do not want to increase our border security, we'll go ahead and do that. Everybody gets something that they want. Everybody gives up something that they don't want. Some people might call that, quote-unquote, a huge freaking deal. So I will say that honestly,
if he was a Democrat, he would call it a big fucking deal.
only Uncle Joe.
Only Uncle Joe.
Now, this is really important, and I'll say personally, this actually made me a little bit nervous because You could argue, and I'm not going to go super deep into the math. Numbers are funny when you talk about them instead of showing them. Yeah, that is compromise. That's exactly what compromise is. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, killing me. I'm focused. I'm here.
I'm right here. Right here. Originally, this made me kind of nervous because one could argue that Donald Trump, despite winning a landslide electoral college victory, and he smoked Hillary. Like, there's a reason why they want to talk about the popular vote, because if you look at it from any other angle, he just kept kicking her in the dick. Like, it's what happened. But if you really break it down and look at some of the hard numbers, you could argue that Donald Trump won the presidency by approximately 50,000 votes. And it was 50,000 votes in the right states that swung those states from blue to red or from purple to red. You have, quote-unquote, bellwether states like Ohio that Obama won in 2008 and 2006. 2012 is when.
Yes,
that's right. 2016 was when that nightmare ended.
he was out there kissing hands and shaking babies, and everybody thought he was pretty.
Yes,
and so they wrote a little check next to his name
because
they can't. Because none of them have read Das Kapital.
Well, and he talks so well. I mean, let me be clear.
Yeah, he talked
so well. Well, he had the props there.
He was like a black Max Headroom.
That's great.
You must try the hot pistachio.
Yeah. Now, it made me kind of nervous for those reasons, because with the amnesty, there will be a push for these people to be allowed to vote. And by and large, in particular, Latin American immigrants.
Wait. Babe, I think you meant there. There, where you said there? Yeah, right there. You meant there. The other there.
What if I get two theirs? Anyhow, with the 50,000 votes and whatnot, Latin immigrants tend to vote Democrat about 65% of the time. So if we flood 2 million privileged special class people onto the voter rolls, even if it's in another decade or two, suddenly a lot of these bellwether states, as it were, they don't turn red anymore. They stay permanently blue. And that could have a dramatic impact on not just the politics of our country, but on the actual social fabric of our country itself. Legal immigration, as we know it and understand, was shut down for about...
I need to just take a moment to correct Lindsay's syntax, because I wasn't correcting Felicia's spelling. I was correcting her grammar.
That is true. It was grammar, not spelling. But thanks for playing, Lindsay. We love you. You keep making comments, and maybe you'll win a comment thread. If no one else corrects her, I'm not.
That's right, baby. That's how we learn.
Bad fee. Anyhow,
not bad. She's better. She can do better.
That's right. Better fee.
No focus. Comedy. Moving forward.
Legal immigration, as we know it and understand it, was shut down for about 40 years in the previous century. And it was because we had had such a flood of...
Wait. Say it again. Slow.
Legal immigration.
It's okay.
We shut down for about 40 years. We shut down for about 40 years in the previous century because we had had such a flood of immigrants legally come to the country seeking the better life that they needed time to assimilate. They needed to become more American. America did not need to become more like them and become a bunch of balkanized states with a bunch of Irish towns and Chinatowns and Spanish towns and everything. No, these people, by all means, hold on to your heritage, remember your ancestors, and be proud of them. But going forward, you become gradually more and more American. When you take people that were brought here illegally and you suddenly just say, well, you know, screw it, you're Americans now, and there's no expectations that you will assimilate into the culture and you will be a proud American, you change the very fabric of our society itself. So there was a lot in this that made me nervous initially. And then I thought about the thing that I still think up to this point was Donald Trump's most brilliant move. And that was the Paris Climate Accord when he pulled out of it. When Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, he basically adopted a liberal position and said that, hey, climate change is a problem and the United States definitely needs to be a part of this deal. Just, guys, can you meet me in the middle? Maybe bring me a deal that doesn't completely screw over America. And in so doing, he proved that the Paris Climate Accord was not actually about pollution or climate change or anything like that. It was about negative intent toward America. He adopted their position to show them as
more importantly, it's not just about causing harm to America. It's literally the case that every other country on the planet at present is actively engaged in the very, very difficult work. That's a joke. Of extracting money from the United States.
It's not that hard to do. Maybe that was the joke.
That's the joke.
Okay, all right. I'm tracking. Like a compromise. Wow, man.
Let me explain something. It's like a compromise, but without Republicans being hurt by it.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's not bad. However, while I did think that the Paris Climate Accord was his most brilliant move, I now think that this DACA compromise might actually, if you'll pardon the pun, trump that. Because you want to talk about just throwing it all on the table. Okay, what's the thing you guys say you want the most? You want amnesty for these poor dreamers, for these poor DACA kids? Fine. They can have it. They can have it. You just got to give me that wall I've been talking about since pretty much day one of my campaign. And I'll give you the thing that you want the most. And what happened? Well, the Democrats almost immediately rejected it. They could have the very thing that they want. They could even play the long game here and say, maybe for the next 10 years, the Republicans kick our asses. But then we push for the ability for these dreamers to vote. And we know that 65, and I actually think that the percentage would be larger, but we know that about 65% of them are going to vote for us. And then we kick the Republicans' asses for the next several decades as a result thereof. But no, they rejected it. In fact, out of everybody, Nancy Pelosi had the best quote on this. And she actually said, I shit you not, that Trump's DACA deal was make America white again. Now,
yes, Nancy Pelosi advanced the argument that offering blanket amnesty to all DACA applicants is an expression of white supremacy.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's Nancy Pelosi. She clearly ate the Tide Pod. However, now that to cycle it all back around,
Oops, pretty good.
To cycle it all back around, I actually want to give you some pushback on something that you said a few minutes ago. Now that the table has been set, I respect the fact that these DACA recipients would need to be tracked. No, see, that's where you lose me. They themselves are not criminals. If I break into your house and I've got one of my children in the car when I break into your house, my child is not a criminal. My child went with their parent because that's what children do. So yes, track them. Yes, they put one toe out of line. They got to go. And yes, they're going to have to jump through some extra hoops that other people otherwise would not have to. But to automatically classify them as felons for doing what kids do, which is follow in the footsteps of their parents, that I would have to push back on you on. Their parents are felons. No doubt about it. But the kids themselves, you're 10 years old, and mommy and daddy are like, oh, I'm tired of eating dirt cookies and the occasional rotten potato, so we're going to illegally sneak into America where maybe you can actually gain weight. You're not going to say no.
Oh, okay. I tell you, I will accept your premise. I'll even accept the same argument from a Democrat. And I will offer this compromise. Full blanket DACA amnesty. And no one gets to use the word reparations ever again. Because what you're arguing right now is sins of the father. So, if we are going to argue in legal precedent that the sins of the father do not belong to his progeny, then I never owned a slave. You can never argue my repression. You can never demand reparations.
The patriarchy.
That shit's over.
Well, actually, that is part of the reason why I would make the point that I would make. That, even, I would agree with. Because I never owned a slave. You never owned a slave. Our grandparents never owned a slave. There is nobody alive in America that owned an American slave and has not been for at least 50 or 60 years at this point. Like, mathematically, it's just literally impossible to have had happen. Because Kansas, exactly right. Anyhow, I was going to sing a song by them, but it just all went out of my brain because I don't listen to a lot of Kansas. So, yeah, the sins of the father. Man, I love the comments and I hate the comments. Like, they're a double-edged sword. They cut both ways. Because by and large, the kids were just following their parents, and you really have no control over what your father or mother does. You signed up for that fee. Like, you signed that contract. No slave signed a contract. That's part of being a slave.
Oh, really?
Okay, look, if you want to go into indentured servitude, but I don't feel like getting into that.
I don't have to say it. You've proved my point. I didn't even have to make it.
That's right.
I didn't even have to make my point to have it proved.
But if you agreed to it, are you really a slave because you agreed to it? Theoretically, indentured servitude ends after a period of 7, 10, or 14 years.
Right.
Like, that's, if you were a slave, you were just a slave. Like, I don't.
DPRT, DPRF. Democratic People's Republic of Texas or Florida. DPRK.
I got it. It took a second. Maybe I should have went to DLI and studied Korean. It would have come to me a little quicker.
Yeah, it's the Gook Men Ju Ju Jui Wee Ju Men Gook Ju Jui Gook. A Gook.
Right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like two of you.
Anyhow, so I think by and large and Donald Trump has tweeted out some things where he's expressly called this out and even said point blank in these tweets, the fact that the Democrats are not willing to take this compromise proves that it's actually the Democrats that are the hypocrites here. And I'm almost nervous saying this on camera, just on the off chance that this ends up on Nancy Pelosi's desk or whatever, because all they would have had to have done is taken the deal, and Donald Trump's presidency would be over.
Right. So, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, we do this armchair quarterback shit, and we talk about the politics stuff, and Trump's political maneuvers are brilliant and transparent. The maneuver is brilliant and pretty transparent. And let's be real, the offer of blanket amnesty in exchange for the wall and the end of chain migration, et cetera, he's playing a pretty big bluff. He's pushed them all in. It's a nerve-wracking high stakes bet. And us sitting here talking about it and talking about how the Democrats are losing this thing because they're just not paying attention, dude. I almost feel like I'm tiptoeing around the edges of violating one of my NDAs. It's like I should be keeping this shit under my beard for national security.
No, I get it. Like, it makes me kind of nervous to even point this out, because anybody that's been through a basic sales training course, one of the things that they teach you about in any commission sales job is overcoming objections. And the theory is, we'll use a car lot as an example. If somebody walks onto a car lot, it's because they want a new car. They don't want a car payment. They don't want to have to test drive cars. They don't want to have to deal with the car buying experience. They don't want their insurance to go up. Those things are objections. But the only reason you show up at the Ford dealership is because you're thinking about how much you want an F-150. And a salesman's job is to overcome those objections, to meet them, address them, validate them, and then find a way past them. And that is all Donald Trump did here. Is, okay, you guys have objections? Well, fine. I'll give you the F-150 if. And he put it back on them. And what's crazy is the Democrats could just walk out of the dealership, or they could just buy the F-150. But they're that pain-in-the-ass customer sitting in the lobby that can't make up their mind, that's going to go on Clark Howard's website and write a review about how terrible Steve Honda Ford or whatever is, because they've got terrible customer service because everybody there is actually competent and doing their jobs. Donald Trump is just meeting objections head on. And in so doing, he's exposing their hypocrisy. He used the word cynicism. He specifically described it as the Democrats are so cynical on this issue, they would rather run on it than solve the problem. And I just keep kicking him in the dick, Donnie Two Scoops. Keep kicking him in the dick.
Donnie Two Scoops. Yeah, buddy. Okay, and there was actually another little thing I wanted to address, and I'm just going to tag it real quick because we're almost out of time. And this tangentially relates to what we're talking about here. CNN, I can't believe I'm about to say these words. CNN ran an article this week in support of cuckoldry, arguing that it's healthy for a marriage to engage in cuckoldry.
So, does that mean two chicks is cool too? Or is it literally just the actual definition of cuckolding? Like, you're going to watch another dude fuck your wife.
That's exactly what they're arguing. They're putting forward the assertion that
But what if I don't want
there are benefits to a marriage for a man to watch another man have sex with his wife. Now let me back up a little bit. I'm gonna repeat that to make sure nobody missed it. CNN, who is not fake news, is trying to tell us that it is healthy for your marriage to have another man come into your home and plow your wife. Now, why would CNN run an article like that? To normalize the activity of cuckolds. To normalize the activity of weak-ass beta men. What they're trying to do is create public support in the marketplace of opinion for the work of people like Lindsey Graham and John McCuckle.
Turtleface.
And McCain for the next 6 hours.
Songbird.
Yeah, Songbird McCain. John, they're over there, McKickey. And really, that's all I had to say on that particular subject. I just wanted to point out that CNN is advancing the narrative that cuckoldry is healthy and normal precisely because they are attempting to normalize yet another sexual deviation. And they're doing it. And I'm not just making a joke here. I think my joke here is hilarious, but I am actually deadly serious. That what they're trying to do is normalize, excuse, and perhaps empower freaking K-selected men. K-selected, R-selected. Shit, I get those two backwards. The ones that don't have the power and the insight and the intellect to be useful, aggressive, and competitive.
So if I could just for a second tag this, because when I saw this come across my Facebook feed earlier in the week, like, I thought it was a joke. I really did. And I was kind of in shock and awe as I clicked on the link and actually read it. And look, legitimately speaking, the libertarian in me says everybody has their kink, and some people's kink is kinkier than others. And if that's really what gets you off, you do you. No judgment from me.
Oh, you know, I'm right there with you. If that's what you're into, you know, sure. But eat your Tide Pods, rock and roll.
But I'm going to tell you,
keep your nose out of my ass.
But I'm going to tell you that 90% of men out there, like, are going to be just like me. Not only do I not want to watch you bang my wife, I don't want to watch you bang my ex-girlfriend from high school. Like, I just don't. Like, no, thank you. Men are, and honestly, and you want to go deep into the misogyny, inherently possessive creatures in a way that women are not. And if that's mine, it's mine. And if I'm going to cut myself off from all the other women in the world because that's mine, I don't want to watch somebody else take what's mine. And just to kind of build on what you said, I don't think it's just normalizing the beta male. I also think it's minimalizing the alpha male, the masculinity that is inherent in my wife and I belong to each other in a very deep, spiritual, biological, however you want to phrase it. We literally are one another's servant and partner and all that other kind of stuff that a real manly man is going to feel. It's not just the promotion of the beta, it is the put down of the alpha.
Oh, baby, you can't be that funny in the comments. I might shit in my recliner. Shoo, buddy. All right. So, I think we're probably done talking about these R-selected sneaky fucker cuttlefish like Johnny, she's over there, McCain, and Mr. McCuckle. So, Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for engaging in the comments section. You guys are brilliant and hilarious. It's been an absolute pleasure. We love you. We'll see you next week. Make sure you tag the subscribe button if you haven't already. Share the shit out of this video. Pop over to the channel. Grab the 2 Chuck Schumer gag videos that I did this week and share those all over Facebook. Help us get our numbers up. YouTube has recently changed the terms again, so we really need to get our subscriber count up to 1,000 to maintain our partner status.
YouTube keeps changing the rules. We needed to hit 100 to be special. We hit that. Now we have to hit 1,000 to be special. It's
if we hadn't hit 100 when we did. Okay, so we get to keep our unique channel ID. The only thing that changes if we lose our partner status is we're no longer able to use Super Chat, which we don't use. Super Chat's where you pay us to be funny. Where you pay us to you be funny. And then we be funny as you pay me.
Right.
I explained it like that because that's how much sense it makes. But anyway, share the shit out of this. Get your friends to watch it. We need the subscribers. Get these numbers up. And God's bless you all for watching us from the beginning of the to the end of the show, because now the most important thing for ranking is view duration. You guys watching our 1 hour show on Sundays is gigantic. And if you could do me a favor and just bring it up on like your cell phone or something and set it down and let it play all the way through tomorrow, that would be helpful. I could probably do that myself, just get like 50 iPads and just hang them on the wall with an unlimited data plan. But, I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, but I do have my limits.
Plus, you need like 43 more iPads.
42.
Wow.
So, that said, it's been a blast. Thanks so much for hanging out. And until next week, remember, if you build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Good night. Who moved my cheese?
Oh my God, dude. I'm gonna have to go from the chat. She's too funny. It only took me like 4 tries to explain the thing about how we shut down legal immigration for about 4 decades last century.